Not like Fred and Ginger. This is a book of high-bun poetry. It's prose and a haiku. Hunting prey. I lay wishing I had brought someone to this ultrasound test with me. The woman is going over and over the same area and seems to be spending an inordinate amount of time doing so. I can't believe it was just yesterday my doctor asked me if I didn't feel the lump. I had a one-word reply. Lump. Circling around the cloud, an osprey. And the haiku again. Circling around the cloud, an osprey. Holding on. We walk into the cancer center, and my husband takes my hand. We look around at the bustling people who seem to all know where they are going. There's a smell of disinfectant in the air, and the sound of someone playing a piano in the distance. I look at my husband, and while I see the compassion in his eyes, I fight the tears that are burning in mine. What are we doing here? I whisper. And the haiku, frozen fruit, winter day in the orchard. Trapped. I sit in the chemo suite and try not to wince as the nurse inserts the needle in my chest. An elegant-looking first-timer walks past us, regally dressed in black satin and a mauve hat. I wonder why they usher her to a private room, but when we all hear her gentle sobs, we know why. A few of us exchange pitiful smiles as we remember the grip that fear held on us too, as we entered the world of unknown, uncertain futures. My eyes dart to my watch, so I'll know exactly what time the bag will drip its last drop, and I will be free again. Meanwhile, my daughter remains steadfast beside me, and we have no choice but to settle in with magazines and each other for the rest of the afternoon. Squirrel in the branches, bread too large for its mouth. Squirrel in the branches, bread too large for its mouth. Following instinct. I have to make myself shuffle into my second last daily radiation treatment. I straighten the chemo bag that hangs around me like an unfashionable purse. My legs are heavy with fatigue. The technician beside me looks concerned and asks if I need a wheelchair. No, I answer breathlessly. Thanks, but I can walk. The pine bough drops in front of my window. A squirrel catapults. The pine bough drops in front of my window. A squirrel catapults. Airborne. My surgeon is on the phone with me. He has asked that my latest MRI results be sent to him and is calling late in the evening to discuss my upcoming surgery. I tell him I know he can't predict the outcome or guarantee anything, but I'm wondering if there is some glimmer of hope. He replies, I think there's more than a glimmer. A fish in the air, soaring seagull. A fish in the air, soaring seagull. Not like Fred and Ginger. I'm laying in intensive care in the semi-dark after my second cancer surgery. I am hallucinating that I am on a narrow stretcher that is racing down a highway at night, and I am terrified. I am unaware that I am sobbing until I hear the kind and calm voice of my surgeon. He tells me this is hard work. It's not like in the movies, that people don't just dance off into the sunset. I hear myself mutter, just like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and he says yes as he pats my shoulder. Invisible spider web, twirling a single leaf. Invisible spider web, twirling a single leaf. Alone. It is 2 days after one of my 8 or 9 hour surgeries, and I can't move at all yet. It's the middle of the night, and I can't get back to sleep. Time seems to stand still, and I pray that a nurse will come by soon. I lay and listen to the soft breathing of the girl in the next bed, while the old clock ticks beside me. Lone swan, a number on its back. Lone swan, a number on its back. Temptation. I hold the cool stainless steel bowl in front of me. My surgical oncologist enters my hospital room and says, "I see you've been sick again." I grin while I tell him about the first meal I've had in many days that ended with the juiciest, sweetest orange I can ever remember having. He smiles before he says, "Maybe next time just have a piece or two instead of the whole fruit." I settle back into bed and enjoy the comfort of knowing it was worth every succulent bite. Bright sun in the middle of the road, a limping coyote. Bright sun in the middle of the road, a limping coyote. Innovative thinking. My surgeon looks sympathetic as he talks about having to cut a major muscle to my leg, resulting in a permanent disability. I wave my hand and shake my head, looking at the humble man who has held my life in his hands. All I can think of is, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. New foliage growing on brown Christmas trees, riverbank dam. New foliage growing on brown Christmas trees, riverbank dam. Expectations. I stand in my kitchen waiting for the call to tell me whether my cancer has spread or not. I wonder if I have set my expectations too high and if that will result in my fall being even greater. The next minute, I am praying for good results, desperately craving the elation and hope that would bring. At last, the shrill of the phone, and I take a deep breath. The nurse tells me that everything's fine, and finally, I exhale. Cloudy day, across the water, a path of sunlight. Cloudy day, across the water, a path of sunlight. A change of plans. The nurse points to the woman laying beside me and says she and I should talk to each other. We are both laying on stretchers and turn to each other and smile. We learn we both had advanced cancers when we were diagnosed. Both have raised grown children we adore, and many other similarities. We reach over and exchange phone numbers so we can be support buddies to each other. Pit in my stomach, her phone keeps ringing. Pit in my stomach, her phone keeps ringing. I'm trying her number again, thinking perhaps she had earlier appointments and has arrived home now. We haven't had one of our talks in about 6 weeks and I have lots to share. Lonely day, Googling her obituary. Lonely day, Googling her obituary. Betrayal. I am looking straight at my oncologist when she tells me I have a new spot. I turn and look at my grown daughter beside me. Usually articulate, she is at a loss for words. I have played this exact scenario over in my mind daily since my last CT scan, but what I didn't dwell on was the look of despair on the faces of my loved ones. Spring snowflake on the wooden porch, a perfect spider web. Spring snowflake on the wooden porch, a perfect spider web. Enough. Standing in the shower, I run my hand through my hair. Most of it is coming out in handfuls. Eventually I stop, as there is too much loss to deal with at once. Picking up the pieces, hair on my pillow. Picking up the pieces, hair on my pillow. The sting. After so much treatment, the veins in my arms are difficult to access. The CT's technician uses my finger as she thinks that may work. Putting the dye in is challenging and it burns as it flows into me. On purple thistle, a bee squirming. On purple thistle, a bee squirming. Look up. It is the night before my 3rd cancer surgery and I'm getting things organized to go to the hospital in the morning. I am trying to stay positive and in the moment. My phone rings and it is my cousin telling me that my grandma has passed away. I hang up and think about her funeral. I let myself cry, but just for a minute. Squirrel on the telephone wire. Unexpected snowfall. Squirrel on the telephone wire. Unexpected snowfall. Unanswered questions. I sit beside the hospital window, feeling a draft that sends shivers through me. A blanket of calmness wraps itself around me while I stare out at the bleak October day. As I listen to the geese that are flying by in perfect formation, I have an overwhelming sense that all is as it should be. I don't know who is responsible, who to thank for my hopeful prognosis. The generation that has passed before me? God? As gratitude washes over me, I am reminded how little we know of whose hands hold our fate. After the storm, branches cradling branches. After the storm, branches cradling branches. A peaceful setting. I am sitting near the bay by my home. The sun is shining, and there are only wisps of clouds in the bright blue sky. The summer breeze tickles the water slightly, and occasionally I hear a splash demonstrating the life below the surface. I am gazing at a swan on the eastern bank when his partner joins him. Rock close to the shore, moving, swan's head underwater. I overhear a nature photographer talking excitedly to his companion about 3 ospreys. I search the sky but don't see any, so I ask him where they are. He points behind me, and I only need to turn around to see them. They soar, dive, and soar again. Epilogue. It won't be a challenge to be succinct in this writing of an epilogue. I'm cancer-free. No longer do I dwell on what the future will bring, as who among us knows. It's my hope that this collection of haibun may have planted a seed of inspiration in you that will flourish whenever you need it. May inner peace take you by the hand and be your lead in whatever journey life takes you on. And this is a translation of a Bashaw poem. Wake up, butterfly, it's late, and we have miles to go together. Thanks for listening.